Last Sunday, the third official season of the Trackmania Grand League finished, and surprise, surprise, the winner was the same. CarlJr for Canada won his third title in a row. So it's my pleasure to welcome you back, Carl, for another winning interview. It's not going to be as late as we did in Lyon when it was like 4 a.m., but still, here we are. And first of all, congratulations once again. Welcome to the channel once again. How is life, Carl?
Yeah, thank you. Life is good. Thanks for having me. And yeah, yeah, life is good. Everything works well right now, even in this crisis.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, now you have some days after the win. Does it feel anything special, or was it only a good feeling on Sunday? How do you feel now after such a long competition has finished?
I'm relieved because everything ended up being like perfect for me. So it was a long competition for 6 months. Group stage went super well, and the playoffs went really well. I put a lot of time into it, so I'm happy that I have the results.
Hmm. Yeah, we spoke a little bit before the season started. You were one of the few players I actually interviewed before the season started. You said that you wouldn't be surprised if you ended up placing outside the top 8 because this group stage system, when you can lose points, can be punishing. But in the end, you ended up winning the group stage. Was that something you thought was possible before, during, and let's say before the last steps?
I knew that it was possible because I always like got decent results at the seasons. I got, I don't know, first in the beta, then you know that better than I think. Like
Yeah,
fourth
yeah, yeah,
maybe,
yeah, yeah.
fourth, and like around those places. So I knew that I could be on the podium, but it was more unlikely for
Hmm.
me.
Hmm. But what would you say about your group stage performance then? Because, like you mentioned, you have won the Trackmania Grand League beta season, and then it was clear that CarlJr, you're also suitable in this format when it's 6 laps. It's about being consistent. Then you also, in my eyes at least, won the Winter 2020, but you somewhat didn't play the 2 last steps, so you ended up fourth. But how would you sum up this group stage compared to the other ones? Because you have done well before, but now, where do you place this among the others?
Well, I played way better in this step simply because the maps were shorter and a bit easier, I'd say, to learn. They were like more normal turns, normal drifts, not weird ice, weird reactor boost corner, weird identities. Everything felt good to train and to play, so it was way easier to learn and to master.
Hmm. We have some sort of established scene now at the top. We see two new players coming in. It was Murra, it was Link. Are you surprised by any players this season? Maybe in particular the two new players, or any other that you played together with last season as well?
Any surprises in a good way or bad
You can
way
take
or
both
both?
if you want. You can start with a good one.
I think Papu, with his pace and with his training on paper, he should have gotten way better. I'm really happy that he got in the top 8 in the end, but I think that was one of the big upsets this season because he's really really good. And Mada did really really well for his first season. I know he puts the time and effort, and he got the results for it, and like he, it's really good for him. And Pack was incredible as well. And yeah, that's probably it.
Hmm.
Pack being really good is the most impressive thing, I would say.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny that you bring up Murra because before the season he was showing his times, he was some sort of banter, and then after the season was over, you replied with probably a contender for tweet of the year, being somewhat saying that where you at Murra or something. Was Murra coming in and doing some sort of banter or just some fun with? Was that an extra motivation to you, or would you have equally been as motivated, if
Uh,
not?
it's motivation, yes and no. It's like it's friendly banter. We need that in Trackmania. Like we're too kind to each other, but as long as it stays like friendly banter, I'll always be up for that. But yeah, a tweet like that makes me boot up my game. That's for sure.
But you mentioned Pack. I think many people agree that he was probably the best player in the group stage. Looking at the points he collected, looking at the maps he won. You brought up that before the season started that Pack is also a contender for the win. But are you surprised that he was that good?
Yeah, actually, because he didn't show the training, the motivation in the last season, so I didn't know if he would be up for that. But a pack motivated is a really dangerous player.
Hmm.
So for me, he will always be in the top, no matter what the type of the competition will be.
Hmm.
If he trains, he's up there.
Hmm. But then after 6 weeks of group stage, you are going into one play day that is essentially gonna decide the whole season with a final line when it's about winning rounds and winning maps in the end. Did you see yourself as a favorite going into that, or did you see maybe Pack as a favorite because he had won so many maps? How did you look at the other players compared to yourself before that final line?
Well, I will always be a favorite because the system is based on pace, and I know I can be one of the fastest guys out there. But obviously, Pac was the big favorite because we were only talking about pace, and in this season, he played for the pace. I would say he played to get those €100. He played to get those first places, so he was really fast. So obviously, it was the big guy to beat. But then the map pack suited him really well. I think he won all the maps.
Hmm.
I'm not 100% sure,
Yeah.
but there was Slalom and Frozen, the two of his best maps in this season. So I know I had to train a lot to have a chance against him, and that's what I did.
Hmm. So to some extent, if he hadn't performed that well in the group stage, would you have put equally the same amount of training in, or did you know that okay, a motivated Pack is on the horizon, he's gonna play, so I need to actually do my best to be well prepared?
Uh, I, well, I think it gives me motivation to get back at his pace in the season. For example, like I'll base my times on the times he did in the season, knowing that he did that in a constant on a consistent way.
Hmm.
Like he drove it in 6 laps, knowing that you could lose your points. So I know he would be even faster in the final. But yeah, it gives me a motivation because I wasn't at his pace at the end of the season, so I had to train more to get to his level, basically.
Hmm. I also said that I viewed Pack as the biggest favorite going into the final. I said you were the big contender, and then essentially it was 9 outsiders, underdogs, or what you want to call it. Did you see any other players on your list as a potential winner candidate besides you and Pack?
Uh, in this kind of format, I will always say Papu and Gwen,
Mm.
obviously, because they I don't know the PBs of Papu, but I'm pretty sure he had like really close to WRs or even WRs. And Gwen, he's the guy who can WR in a match randomly. So those two are the guys that I don't know what to expect in the match.
Mm.
Like for example, Pac, if I know his PB, I'll know his pace in match, and it will be the same for a lot of guys out there. But Papu and Gwen, they are really unpredictable, I would say.
Mm. But are you surprised by Gwen's overall season? I mean, I mentioned it in my tier list that 2021 is going to be CarlJr versus Gwen like it was in the end of 2020. But this season it ended up being you versus Pack again. So are you surprised to some extent that Gwen wasn't up there battling with you and Pack in the season and then in the final line as well?
Well, the thing is, today in the league, the player who will perform needs to put their 100% and to put time and to be focused in their training to have a chance. And like if there's a pack no train, he'll have no chance at the top. If I'm no trained, I will have no chance at the top. So I don't think Gwen prepared like he should have for the tournament. He's really talented. So no matter what the competition will be, he'll be a really strong opponent. So I think it's a matter of preparation and not a matter of performance on the day.
Hmm. Let's go into the final line then, because it's a format that if you start off slow, you are out. Like Bren was, he could have done better. But if you play long, like you impacted, it's a long format. You can play for 3 hours. How is that format to play like? Because you know that, okay, I need to be on my level straight away. If not, I can go out. And I also need to some extent, probably rest because it's going to be mentally draining to play 3 hours if you are always like focused. How is it for you as a player to be inside that head?
The big issue, at least for me, it's to start strong. My biggest fear, it's always round one. If I get a good round one, I have my mind ding, I'm confident for the rest. If on the other side I have a bad round one, like I did last season,
Mm.
like I'm not confident and I'll make more and more silly mistakes. So it's really important to start strong since you don't have a second chance in this format. And this is a big issue for other players, like I would say Kappa, who I've competed with him for I don't know the last 5 years, and in LAN events he always started big shaky, and then the more it goes into the last matches, he's always more strong and strong. Well, stronger is the word I was searching for.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a system that suits him particularly when he's like super strong at the game. So you have to start strong, and that's the big issue I have with this system.
Mm. So essentially, we saw Pack starting off winning round 1 and 3, and then I think he won round 1 and 2 in the top six. So essentially, he won 4 out of 5 rounds he played. Are you looking at that once you're playing, and are you thinking like I need to step up, or are you thinking that maybe Pack is gonna slow down? How is that? How are you looking at your competitors once you are playing?
Well, the thing is with Peck, I train with him,
Hmm.
so I know exactly what he'll do. So I knew he had two really strong maps, the slalom and reversing one, and the other three he was really good as well. But I think he was more playable. Let's say it like that. And so I wasn't really scared of him since anyways I knew he deserved top two. I
Hmm.
just wanted to qualify top two with him. So I wasn't looking at Pac as a contender until the big final. So no, it didn't affect me that he was really good at the start of the tournament.
Hmm. But what did you think once you saw that? Okay, it's actually going to be a final two between me and Pack. It's going to be the two best players this season. It's going to be the two best players in the final day. That is coming to the head-to-head. What do you think then? Is it just try not to think at all, just play? Is it like try to hype yourself up to play even better? What is going inside your head once you are facing
It,
such a good player in the 1v1?
it's the thing is I put myself some objective at the start of the tournament, and my objective was to reach top two, and I did. So when I did reach that, I just play my game. I don't think about anything. I just try to do the best I can do, because Trackmania is basically a game that you play against yourself,
Hmm.
and I just don't think about anything, and I just play the game. Like my training comes now, and I'm just doing what I'm doing in training basically, and I think about absolutely nothing.
But after the final was over, I had the tweet ready already before you won. I listed up the all the major events you have played. I think I remember now it's 16 events. You have placed top three in all of them. Now you won once again. You won Trackmania Grand League, that is seen as at least one of the big ones in today's Trackmania. How did it feel to win the Trackmania Grand League 2021 Winter Edition?
It felt great, obviously, but it's not a tournament that I don't know how to say that. It's it's less prestigious than a World Cup, for
Mhm.
example. I mean, it's a really good feeling, not gonna lie, but it's not something that it was not as powerful as my win in Lyon last year in TMGL. It wasn't as powerful as my, let's say, ESWC wins.
Hmm.
Just maybe the fact that it's online, maybe the fact that I I don't know.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't know. It feels really good, but not as a tournament that I really want to prove myself.
Hmm. Because we spoke before the season started again, and I asked you the question: what would you rate higher, winning a Trackmania Grand League season or winning the Trackmania Grand League World Cup that is coming in July, I believe? You said it's the World Cup. Do you still stand by that and say that the World Cup is essentially at least one of the big goals, together with probably Serati Cup this year?
Yeah, for sure. World Cup is the big thing this year since it will be commode with a really cool seeding system, and the playoffs will become mode. Even though I have to say I really like a final in a 1v1.
Hmm.
I really like that to decide who's the best player to end up in a 1v1. I really like that. But the round 1 to 3 before that, it's those rounds that I hate. Even though the final four is way better than it was, I have to say that. But round 1 and round 2 are hard. But yeah, World Cup will be really good. The return of the Cup mode, so I'll look up to that.
There's some sort of after every tournament, we both joke to each other and say that now you play second, so you cannot retire. Now you play first, so you can retire, because we know that if you want a legacy in Trackmania, you need to end on a win, like Karin has done, winning DreamHack, and then he left, and everybody thinks he's still the greatest Trackmania player. What is the future for CarlJr? You have played, I believe, soon for 10 years. If you go to ESWC 2012, you got your first podium placement at a big event. So what is the future for you? You have the grand final of the Games Assembly coming up. You have the Trackmania Grand League World Cup coming up. But tell us, what is the future for you in Trackmania?
Well, I don't know, if I'm being honest with you. I've already considered a bit this year to maybe step down from TMGL since I had no motivation and no joy playing it. But now it will change. The format will change. Cash price is getting better. My contract with Solary is still is still going for 1 year. So I don't know. Like I'll keep playing in all the competitions for the next year, and after it's the time to make a big decision. And like, for example, if I lose my last tournament, I can't retire because you said it. So
Yeah.
I'll have to host my cup with only one player, and I'll have to win that, and then I'll retire.
I have said that the LAN events not being hosted is a motivational kill for me, because that is essentially the reason why I do it, is to go to events, it's to see you guys play, to speak to you guys. How much is no LAN events affecting your motivation? We just got the news that Curator is not able to host his Accor Hotels Arena event this year either. We hope he's going to host it next year, but is that affecting your motivation at all, that you cannot perform in front of a stage, you cannot be in front of a crowd, you cannot see the players you're playing head to head against?
It's hard. Like it's really hard because LAN events. It's so cool to see the boys, to play against them, to have fun, to eat in the evening with them. Like I really miss those times. And right now, like, we would be in Europe, like, celebrating, and I miss those times,
Yeah.
for real. And obviously, if there was LAN events, people would take that way more seriously. And yeah, I just miss those environments with you know how tense it was last TMGL. Nobody was
Oof.
talking. I miss those. I really miss those.
Yeah, that makes two of us. Is there any final words for the people that have followed you this whole season and supported you, and to even maybe to the doubters? I mean, I should learn now, because it's the third Trackmania Grand League season, and it's the third time I predicted that you won't win. In the Winter 2020 season, I had Kappa winning. In last season, I had Gwyn winning, and this I had Pack winning. And I like, okay, let's show him who is the actual best player. Is there any final
No,
words
no,
to the
no, no.
supporters, to the
I like
doubters, to the believers? Is there any final words to the people of Trackmania?
to the supporters. Thank you, obviously, for everything. You guys are awesome. To the doubters, keep doubting me. I like it. And to you, I love you even if you doubt me.
Oh, that's no final words to any of that. That's it for CarlJr. If you want to see more of CarlJr, he's playing the grand final of Gamers Assembly 2021 that is taking place on 4th of April. That's it for now. Bye bye.